ऐसे ना एक बार
ठीक है
just and I'll start.
ओके
Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to Hit Bullseye. And we are back with an exclusive session that is Topper Talk. And today in this session, we have a very special guest with us, Shivam Bareja. Welcome. I welcome you, Shivam. Welcome to Hit Bullseye's Toppers Talk.
Hi Archal.
Hello. So I want to give a brief introduction about Shivam. That Shivam has done his graduation from Shahid Bhagat Singh College, Delhi University, and he's a FMS pass out in 2023 batch. He's graduated, and the rest I want to know it from you, Shivam, because it's your story, and we want to listen it from your side. That how was your journey? And everything. So please give us the brief introduction about yourself.
Sure, Archal. So I'm based from Delhi. I did my BCom honors from Shahid Bhagat Singh College, Delhi University. Then I joined FMS for my MBA. And post my MBA, I'm right now working as a management trainee in Pidilite Industries Limited. Regarding my CAT experience, I have given CAT exam twice. First in 2019, where I scored 97.75 percentile, and in my second attempt, where I scored 99.91 percentile.
Okay, so 97 to 99.91 percentile. So why you haven't took the admission in any B school in the first attempt only because you have got a great percentile only than 97. So what was the reason?
So during my first attempt, I scored 97.75 percentile, but in VARC section, I scored 78.01 percentile. And unfortunately, by one question, I would say, I lost the cutoff, which is majorly 80 in all different colleges, due to which I couldn't get shortlist in many of the colleges, and I had decided to give CAT another shot due to that. In my second attempt, I was able to score 98.6 percentile in VARC, and hence the what happened in the first attempt was a blessing in disguise, I would say.
Okay, so next, like in the second attempt, you scored 99.91 then. So what is the secret behind that jump and how we'll go section wise also.
Yes.
We'll start from quant and LRDI, then verbal also, where I think you face the problem, right? So tell us about the section wise, like the quant. How was
Sure.
you started your preparation for quant and LRDI and then VARC in your first attempt?
Sure.
What was your strategy in first attempt for VARC and what was your strategy in second attempt?
Sure. So I will go section wise. I will first start with quant and DILR. So quant and DILR were my strong suits throughout my both attempts. In quant, especially since it was majorly mathematics till class 10, it is majorly what we have studied earlier only. So that helped me. In DILR, which was my strong suit, I really liked solving puzzles from my early age only, I would say, which helped me a lot in my DILR section. I scored 99.82 in DILR in my first attempt and 99.79 in my DILR in second attempt, which was my favorite section. Regarding what worked for me in these two sections, if I talk about in DILR, whenever I used to solve these different sets, I always aim for first finding out which set will be the most easiest set for me, so that my motivation will also increase as I solve one set, and then I try to go towards those sets which were difficult. Similarly, for quant, I first used to go through all the questions. I used to give them 30 to 40 seconds per question and see if I can solve those questions in that time bracket. If I couldn't solve that question, I used to mark that question that I will come back to it later. While going towards all these questions, I realized which questions will need more time and which questions will need relatively lesser time. So in this way, I was able to bifurcate which type of questions I need to solve first. Because what I personally feel in CAT exam, we need to ensure that per minute we are able to score some amount of marks per minute basis pay. So when I'm solving the question, I need to see that will this question give me 3 marks or not, and in how much time it will take. If I solve one question which takes 5 to 6 minutes, I personally feel a better opportunity would be if I am able to solve 4 to 5 questions in those 5 to 6 minutes, so that I'm able to score 12 marks in those 5 to 6 minutes instead of scoring 3 marks. Now I will talk about my VARC. So in my first attempt I'm not a very good reader. Initial from my age, I was not a very good reader, which made VARC my most difficult section, I would say. So in my first attempt, I tried finding some shortcuts, I would say, without reading. Like, I personally feel reading would have helped me a lot, but I decided not to do that and instead focused on practicing different RCs at that attempt, which caused me a problem because in 2019, the VARC section was a difficult section as compared to the previous sections. And unfortunately, by one question, I was not able to clear the cutoff. During my second attempt, when I decided that I will be giving CAT again, I decided to go from the basics. I made a complete Excel where I used to write down the link where I decided to paste the link of the article I have read, so as to understand what different articles I'm reading and from which different sources I'm reading. I started reading newspapers also. This helped me in two ways. Firstly, it improved my vocabulary as well as my reading skills. Secondly, it also made me aware about the current happenings and made me understand about different aspects of education, I would say, or different fields in general. So then, when I went to the then if we talk about my strategy for RCs, I would say, so in RCs, what I used to do is I used to first read the entire passage. And then when I came to the questions, I decided to go by the process of eliminating the options. Because what I have personally faced, and I have found many people also find the same, that the options are very close in VARC, especially RCs. So when we move with the process of elimination, we are more able to solve the questions in a better manner. So this was my strategy for VARC and in these three sections.
Okay, so from the very starting only, you managed the time, and the time strategy was very clear for you, if I'm not wrong. Right.
Definitely.
So I want to know more that when did you started your preparation? Like, what was that time like before CAT 2019, I think. So in July or January, when you started your preparation. So what
Let's
was the
start.
first step towards the CAT?
So I started my preparation 6, 7 months before CAT 2019. I joined a coaching institute and I decided to give CAT in that year. I was also continuing my graduation from Shahid Bhagat Singh College at that time. During my second attempt, I started my preparation from May onwards, 6 months before the exam. And during my second attempt, I focused on self study only. I took some mocks from different coaching institutes, and that's how I did it.
Okay. So you started your preparation 6 months back, I think, right? So
Yes.
who gave you that motivation? Like, was it very clear for you that, okay, I want to give CAT? It was very clear from the very starting, or like, who was the inspiration behind this?
So, regarding inspiration, I would say in the college, when I was in my college, there were different. I was doing BCom honors, and being in Delhi University, you get to know different type of career branches people are taking. I was also part of different societies in my college, and I was able to interact with different seniors and got to know what different fields are there. For example, CA or CS, or even in MBA, there is GMAT, CAT. And after getting to know all these different branches, I thought on which kind of field will be better suited to me. I had inclination towards marketing and sales, and at that time, I thought that I can go towards giving an MBA. And from starting only, my MBA colleges, FMS was a college which was my dream college, especially due to it being a marketing mecca also. So at that time, that's how I got some clarity that I have to do an MBA. But definitely as a fresher, it was a journey which I had to take with faith.
Right.
Yes.
And when you gave the attempt in 2020, so I think that time COVID was going on. So
Yes.
you were working that time, or you take a break from the work, and after college you just prepare for CAT only?
So after my college, I had a job offer from a multinational company, but COVID stuck and my graduation delayed. It got over around October and CAT was in November. So I decided to not join my company and focus on my CAT exam, which worked for me eventually.
Okay, great. So as you said that you were participate in many societies in your college. So how important is that according to an FMS alumni? So how important when uh, in academics only you have to focus, or you as a student, what advice will you give that how important it is to participate in other societies also, extracurricular also?
So, after doing my BCom and MBA, I would strongly recommend everyone that all these different colleges, when we join, they are not only a place where you can get a placement or you can get some good academic learning. They are definitely for these major things. But apart from this, these places, these institutes also give you a very wide range of opportunities to explore yourself and understand what makes you more happy, in what kind of domains you can foray into. So I would strongly recommend everyone who is seeing this that take part in as many opportunities as possible that are given to you, be it in your graduation or be it in your post graduation. You will get to interact with different people, understand what makes you more happy, and make will help you making a better version in personal as well as professional front.
Okay, great. Like our student will learn from you that how important it is to, participate in societies also with your academics, and the time management is very important in these both the
Yes.
factors, right? So,
Yes.
Shivam, tell us about the FMS life, and when you get into FMS, like how your life just transform, and tell us about that journey.
So, journey in FMS was good. As I mentioned, FMS was my dream college since long. And when I got to know that that I got converted FMS, I was extremely happy at that time. And the journey in FMS was great. I got different opportunities. For example, there are corporate competitions, guest lectures. There are different type of live projects you can do. It's a great journey. So it's a great journey in FMS, I would say. It's a
Okay.
place where you can learn so much and you can also enjoy. It's a good journey and all, I would say.
Okay. So with FMS, you also converted IIMs also, IIM Calcutta and other IIMs, right?
Yes.
So, we want to know that when you were giving your PIs, so
Yes.
how was your experience in the first PI of IIM Calcutta or other IIMs also? So tell us about your experience in PI rounds.
Definitely. So, PI rounds, the experiences were great, I would say. You get to, so I would suggest everyone who are preparing for their PIs is to prepare all different dimensions of their life for their personal interviews. My experience was good. The questions revolved around different range, I would say. Some interviews were based on my academics, some interviews were based on current happenings around the world and my opinion on those current happenings. Some of the interviews also focused on some current happenings related to the places and and institutes I am associated with. For example, I am from Delhi, and in interviews, it was expected that I have basic knowledge about the history and political sphere of the place I'm living, which is Delhi. So it was a very, I would say, preparing for the interviews in all was a very enriching experience in terms of understanding and learning so many new things.
Okay. So what were your strategy in preparing for the interviews? Like how you prepared for interviews, and like reading newspapers were there, and how was the preparation?
Okay, so for preparing the interviews, I divided different domains which I had to prepare, which I would suggest everyone to do also. First is your academics. Being a fresher, I knew that my interviews can be and will be based on academics, so I had to prepare for my academics. Especially, you need to prepare for at least 2 to 3 subjects where you have some deep knowledge also for our interviews. Second is preparing for the current affairs happening around the world. And apart from preparing for the current affairs, you should also be prepared for having a logical opinion on these current affairs. For example, when I was preparing, farm laws were happening. So interview questions were asked to me about what is my opinion on the farm laws, for example. Thirdly, is preparing about places and institutes I am part of, as I mentioned. So in one of my interview, I was asked about the history of of Bhagat Singh, as my college is also from college of the Shahid Bhagat Singh College. So that is the third thing. So apart from this, my HR questions were also very important. Under HR questions, major questions are TMAY, why you want to do an MBA, some of your strengths, some of your weaknesses. So I would suggest everyone who are preparing for their interviews is to clearly differentiate, clearly have different domains preparation in this manner, which will help you a lot.
Okay. As you said that, like why MBA? So we get many questions that what is the right answer of this question? Because in most of the IIMs interviews and B school interviews, this is the most common question. Like every candidate have gone through. So what is the right answer according to you?
So I personally don't know which can be the right answer. I can tell from my own experiences that when you are telling about why you want to do an MBA, first of all, you need to have a very genuine kind of answer. The answer needs to be from your own story. For example, when I used to mention why I want to do an MBA, I used to mention that I have my interest in marketing and sales. I have inclination towards these fields, and I feel MBA will give me opportunities to go into these domains in my future. That's why I want to do an MBA. MBA, why MBA is not a very rocket science kind of a question where you need to put some different jargons at different points. Having a very genuine answer can help you. So that would I would say my mantra. But I don't think there is a perfect answer for why MBA.
I think because most of the student what they do is they just build up an answer, copy
Yes,
paste the answer जो उनके टीचर्स फैकल्टीज उनको दे देते हैं राइट या फिर उनके सीनियर्स उनको दे देते हैं दैट यू शुड से दिस इन बाय एमबीए दैट इज रॉन्ग because they are
yes,
asking you this question because they want to know you your
yes.
perspective why you really want to be in this institute right.
Yes, I would like to add it one more point. So every the people who are taking the interview, they have all intention to select you as the student. If they have given you a call, they want you to convert that call. There is no reason that we need to be nervous for the interviews. I would suggest that thing. And one thing is that you need to be as authentic in your interview as possible. If you don't know something, just mention that I don't know this thing. I will read about this or learn about this post my interview. Be as authentic and humble as possible. I think that will definitely help you in your interviews.
Right. Because it is very important that you be yourself in that interview.
Definitely.
That's where they'll
Yes.
select you. That why you want to
Yes.
be here and why you worked so hard and got this score. So that is important. Just be yourself. Also, Shivam, what
Definitely.
was your worst experience in the interviews? So because जब भी इंटरव्यू की बात आती है देयर इज वन आईएम जिसका पैनल बहुत ज्यादा मतलब ऐसे हो जाता है कि स्टूडेंट बोलते हैं दिस वाज माय वर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस व्हाट वाज योर वर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस
So I won't name the college.
ओके
That that interview was, it went around 15. So I would say there are two interviews, I would say. This is the first one. So the
यू
interview
कैन
went around
टेक द
15.
नेम आई थिंक
No, it's okay. So the interview went around 15 to 20 minutes. And the interview was on almost all the subjects I have studied my BCom honors. They literally asked 2 to 3 questions on almost every subject that I prepared. And the interview was in the morning, 9 o'clock.
ओके
So I had prepared for 2 to 3 major subjects, and other subjects also had some knowledge. But with all these kind of questions bombed towards me one after other, so it became a very difficult experience for me and all. And so, however, eventually I converted that college.
ओके
Second interview, which I would say was another I won in the college, but that interview went completely on my hobby. So my hobby, I mentioned my interest in mythological epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata. So the interview completely went on Mahabharata and some aspects, some things, some points on Mahabharata, and they asked my opinion. And the interview turned out to be like a battlefield only when the discussion were happening. I was able to convert that college also, thankfully. It was a great experience, but at that time, it was a scary experience because of the debate which was happening.
I think the best part was that you converted both the colleges, despite of like that experience, that it was the worst experience for your interview, right? So also, Shivam, now what is the advice you want to give to aspirants who are preparing for FMS? Because particularly student, their dream college is FMS because obviously FMS is such a great college, B school college with low fees and great packages. So what advice you want to give to students? Like what steps they should take for the FMS journey?
Sure. So for FMS, even in the criteria, they have mentioned that there are some amount of marks fixed for discussion on the statement of purpose. So initially, they give out the form where you have to mention your statement of purpose, the SOP. Be very careful while writing your answers in your SOPP as authentic and as genuine as possible in that SOP, first of all. And discussion will be framed on that SOP majorly in the interview because it contains specific marks in your criteria. So having a clear mind on why you want to do an MBA is very important. Why you want to join a college like FMS is also a very important point. You should have a clear idea regarding that. Apart from this, extempore also happens in FMS. So one piece of advice which I will give, extempore can be on anything. There is no specific point on which the extempore can be. For some of the people, the extempore can be related to their profile. For me, for example, my extempore was on Lord Shiva, and my name is Shivam. So in that way, it was connected. But with a lot of my batchmates, the extempore topics were not at all connected with their profiles. So it depends on the faculty and it depends on the interview panelist on what kind of extempore they will give you. Again, for the extempore, be as clear as possible on what points you are adding. Take some time before speaking. Make a blueprint in your mind on what you will be speaking. Try to speak from all different lenses as possible. For example, if you're talking about an opinion, give as many different opinions from different lenses so as to show that you can think from different lenses. And for that, I personally feel reading helps. Reading is something which will always help. So at that time, my preparation for VARC helped me, that I would say. So
So
these are the two things. And
for
yes,
VRC, Shivam, sorry to interrupt you, but
yes,
really want to know the books that how you build up this habit because as you mentioned previously, that you don't have this habit of reading, but how you
yes,
build that? So what was your
yes.
steps for this?
Yes. So I had no interest in reading initially. I had very less interest in reading. What I did was I got to know some of the major sources from which VARC RCs were given. For example, Aeon essays or Smithsonian or The Guardian. What I did was I prepared an Excel. I started making a rule. I made a rule for myself that daily I had to read 5 articles. I wrote down the links of the articles, number of words, and the time taken to read those articles. Because the time taken to read will also be important point in my RCs. So first I read 5 articles, then again 5 articles. Initially it was a cumbersome task. Later I developed my interest. There were times when I was able to read 8 to 9 articles also in a day. And I found automatically that my RC reading skills were already improving. So at that, this way I worked on this. I had this, I would say, interest or some my habit of making Excels actually for different tasks. So even for mocks analysis also, I prepared a complete Excel for it and mock analysis of different sections. So for that
Okay.
also, yes.
So how many like mock PIs have you taken? So
Mock PIs I
yes.
had given around 3 to 4. I don't remember the exact number, around 3 to 4.
So
So,
like they helped you out, like their analysis and all.
Definitely, they helped me out. Feedback from the people who were taking my interview was gold, I would say. Understanding where I was not doing good, where I was doing good, it helped me a lot in my preparation. Taking feedback definitely helped.
Right. So also, how did your FMS interview went? And were you
Yes.
sure that, okay, now I got this? So how
So
sure were you?
So, just a piece of trivia. I have done BCom honors, which is a finance degree. So, most of my interviews, despite my interest in marketing and sales, which I was mentioning, the interviews were going towards finance side. So, in FMS, the interview went completely on marketing. First, the extempore happened, which was on Lord Shiva. Then, some cross questioning happened about the things which I spoke in my extempore, and then the discussion directly went to my statement of purpose on why I want to do an MBA and why FMS Delhi in particular. Then some major questions were asked on marketing and what do I know about marketing and sales and branding. And with that, the interview ended. The interviews in FMS at that time were relatively shorter. It was an online time, so the interview was around 10 minutes.
Okay. So
Yes.
I think now it is not the case. Now your
Yes. Now
interviews
it's
are offline.
since it's
So
offline, it is indeed.
yes. So what suggestion you want to give to FMS aspirants?
So, I would say three major points. First point is prepare for the extempore in terms of practicing different type of topics related to your profile and not related to your profile also. Second is making a very concise, authentic, and genuine SOP, and also preparing for questions related to that. Be as clear and concise and genuine in your SOPs, and have a clear idea on why you want to do an MBA. Third point is why FMS in particular. This is also something which you should be aware of regarding what kind of benefits FMS will give you. So these are the major points which I would suggest every FMS aspirant to prepare for.
So, Shivam, there is a saying that FMS look for a perfect academic person. So, like the academic should be very perfect in the 10th and 12th also. They should have a good score. So, what do you think about this?
So I personally feel that this has changed in the recent few years. For example, in our criteria only, there are marks given to people who have scored more than 75% in 10th and 12th also now. So in this way, they have started doing the changes. Apart from this, in FMS, they majorly look for people with a very holistic kind of experiences, or I would say achievements. So earlier, GD used to happen, and in GDs they used to give different topics, and they were able to check people who were able to speak more better, or people who had different opinions on different things, and they were able to articulate proper kind of opinions on different things. So I feel that FMS majorly looks for people who have all different kind of experiences and achievements. But apart from this, definitely academics is also an important part.
Okay. Also, there are some myths about FMS, Shivam. So we want you to clear that because we are an outsider. So we really want to know about FMS more. So the myth is that when you get into a B school like FMS, so you don't need to study after that. So is it true? Like when once you get into an FMS, so no, we don't need to study anymore.
So, wherever we go, some kind of study is definitely important. And in IFMS also, that kind of study is important. During my exams or internals, we have to study. But definitely not everything in MBA, you get different experiences and opportunities, right? So apart from academics, also different opportunities that are given to you are important. For example, different kind of corporate competitions are happening, different kind of societies are there, experiences in those societies also help a lot in the building of personality and profile. So definitely studies are important, but it's a part of your experience, not the entire part.
Yeah. So what changes, like what change occur in your life and personality after you graduated from FMS?
So it has been a positive change. It has been a great change, I would say. Right now, I'm working in Pidilite as a management trainee. So I had interest in marketing and sales, and now I'm working as a management trainee. It has been a good change, I would say, in terms of professionally also. On personal front, it's also a good change that I have done my studies from my dream college. So it's a good feeling and all.
Okay, great. Also, now we'll wrap up the session, Shivam, because
Sure.
हम इसको इतना lengthy नहीं खींचेंगे. So, what is the last advice now for the CAT 2024 aspirants? So, you want to give that the first step they should start now, or they have time. So, what strategy they should use? Because I think that CAT is not a race; it's a marathon. So,
Definitely.
right. So you have to be patient
Yes.
because, as you said, that in your first attempt, you took a second attempt and you scored 99.91. So there is a whole journey, right,
Yes.
from 2019 to 2020. So your advice, we want that how they should keep this journey a marathon, how they should prepare.
Personally, a very good line by you, and it's true also that it's not a race but a marathon. So when I also give CAT, I got 97.75, but due to one section, I would say maybe one question, I lost my chance of doing an MBA in that year, which was a disheartening experience, but I took it that I will make it a blessing in disguise in future by preparing hard for my next attempt. So one of the major advice I will give to people who are already appeared for CAT or might be giving CAT in future, that don't get disheartened with whatever happens, just try to give your best in the future. Having this feeling of giving your best will always be helpful for you in your long run also, as you will be able to be without any regrets. That's the first point. Second point I would say is that as I would say, people who have not attempted CAT so far, or who still are in the process of thinking whether they want to give CAT or not, or whether they are a right fit for CAT or not, I would say that they can first look at some previous year paper, or they can try giving one mock, because by that they will understand whether this is something which they are fit for or not. And thirdly is that get an idea on which sections you are stronger, which sections you are not stronger. Don't take a shortcut, I would strongly recommend. For example, when I was doing my preparation, I did that mistake which costed me 1 year. So I would strongly recommend take the longer route in these kind of things. It will help you in long run. I was not a reader, right now I am a reader. I would say after I would say 4 or 5 years have gone so far. So now I am a reader, I would say. And earlier, 5 years back, I hadn't even expected I would read books, which helped me a lot now, I would say. So take every opportunity given to you with your full best, I would say, and prepare on prepare on this basis. And one last point I would also add on mock analysis also. Whenever you're giving your mocks, also ensure to analyze your mock exams. I made an Excel for that. So I will give you example for one of the section, which is quant. I after I've done my mock, I used to write down that I used to type down in my Excel that okay, I have done these number of questions correctly, and these number of questions I have left or did incorrect. Now I used to bifurcate on why I left these questions or why these questions are incorrect. There can be a silly mistake. There can be an application based issue, or there can be a problem because of me not being aware with the concept. And after finding the root issue, when I'm able to resolve that root issue, that mistake will not happen in the future. So that kind of micro planning in your mock analysis will definitely help you in your preparation.
Shivam, when did you started giving mocks? So, like
So
when you analyze, as you said that you used to make Excel sheet. So that was
yes.
the only source you used to, that way only you used to analyze your mocks.
Majorly, yes. So majorly, yes. After understanding, for example, this silly mistake, I used to understand that this is the mistake I've done. I will not do this mistake again in future. If there is a concept basis mistake, I used to read that concept again, and that helped me in my in scoring high in quant, I would say. So, and I started giving mocks around May only for both of the years.
Okay. So
Yes.
there is a safe like distance. May is a good month
Yes,
that you can
it's
give
a good.
number of mocks after that.
And also one more point I would like to add. So in 2020, the pattern also changed midway. earlier the CAT was around 3 hours and then the CAT changed to 2 hours. I
Yes.
would suggest that to everyone who is giving CAT, these kind of things can also happen. So you need to be prepared for any externality that can happen during your journey. And that is something which is also important, because for me also I had in my mind that this is how I will go towards my go towards solving my CAT exam. But I had to change my preparation, and my pattern was completely changed. And the pattern was not clear until the D day.
Okay.
So I had to ensure that I had a very, I would say, not a very specific plan in my mind. I didn't have a very specific plan in mind because of that.
So
So
as
I
a
had,
aspirant, you should be prepared for every change, everything.
yes,
Like anything can
yes,
happen with you.
yes, and that's why give your best in preparation. That will definitely help you, I would say.
Yes. So I think it's time now to say goodbye to our lovely students. So thank you so much, Shivam. And
Thank you.
you told us about many insights about how we should prepare and time management and everything like Excel also. So I know that our student got help from this session. Thank you so much. And if you have liked this session, just comment down if you have any queries. Share the session with your friends so that they can also get help from the insights like which Shivam has given us, and subscribe the channel for more such sessions. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
I think it's done.
Okay, great.
Yeah.